The cold woke him up. Not the gentle cold of Earth's winter mornings, but the sharp, biting cold of recycled air in a metal room. Tae-yang opened his eyes slowly. White walls, white ceiling, white floor. Everything was too bright, too clean, too alien. He sat up carefully, his muscles aching. The last thing he remembered was fire. His ship breaking apart, the sound of metal screaming as it tore open, his crew shouting through the communication system. Then nothing but darkness and the terrible silence of space. Now he was here. Wherever here was, Tae-yang looked down at himself. Someone had dressed him in a gray uniform. Not his uniform. Not human clothing. He touched his chest, his arms, checking for injuries. Nothing. They had healed him. But why? The door opened with a soft hiss. 3 figures walked in. They were tall, taller than any human. Their skin had a greenish tone with small scales that caught the light. Their eyes were large and golden with vertical pupils like a snake. Vorthans. Tae-yang had seen pictures in the military files, but seeing them in person was different. The one in front wore a uniform with many badges. An officer. He smiled, showing sharp teeth. The smile did not reach his eyes. "Welcome back to the living," the officer said. He spoke English, but with a strange accent. "I am Commander Dalnim. You are very lucky. We saved you from your dying ship." Tae-yang said nothing. He watched them carefully. His military training took over. Count the guards, 2, look for weapons, both armed with energy rifles. Check the exits. 1 door, probably locked. Assess the situation. He was a prisoner, not a guest. "You are human," Dalnim continued, walking closer. "We thought your kind was extinct, gone, destroyed 30 years ago. Yet here you are, fascinating." The word fascinating made Tae-yang's blood run cold. He had heard that word before in reports about Vorthan research stations. They did not treat their research subjects well. "What do you want?" Tae-yang asked. His voice was rough from not speaking. "Want? Nothing much. We want to study you, learn about you. You are a piece of history. A living fossil." Dalnim laughed. "Do not worry. We will treat you well. You are valuable to us." Valuable like a museum piece, Tae-yang thought. Not valuable like a person. The days that followed were strange. They kept him in the White Room. 3 times a day they brought food. Once a day they took him to another room for tests. They measured everything. His height, his weight, his blood pressure. They took samples of his blood. They scanned his body with machines that hummed and beeped. One of them was different. A female Vorthan named Bora. She was a scientist, not a soldier. She asked him questions about Earth, about human culture, about what humans ate and how they lived. She seemed genuinely curious, not cruel. "Did humans really have thousands of different languages?" she asked one day. Tae-yang nodded but did not say more. He answered her questions with as few words as possible. Every word he spoke was information. Information was power, and he would not give them power over him. But while they studied him, he studied them. He learned their schedules. The guards changed every 8 hours. The morning guards were lazy. The afternoon guards were more alert. The night guards were nervous and jumpy. He learned the layout of the station. From his room to the testing chamber, he counted steps. He memorized turns. He noted where the cameras were and where they could not see. He learned their weaknesses. The Vorthans were strong and their technology was advanced, but they were arrogant. They thought he was helpless. They thought he was harmless. They thought wrong. One day, Commander Dalnim brought other officers to see him. They stood outside his cell, looking at him like he was an animal in a zoo. "This is what humans look like," Dalnim said proudly. "Small, weak, soft skin, no claws, no natural armor. It is amazing they survived as long as they did." The other officers laughed. Tae-yang sat on his bed and stared at the wall. He let them laugh. Let them think he was weak. Let them underestimate him. That was good. That was useful. But one of the officers did not laugh. He stood at the back watching Tae-yang with sharp eyes. His name was Yunwoo, and he was the head of station security. He did not smile. He did not mock. He just watched. And when Tae-yang glanced at him, their eyes met. Yunwoo's expression changed. Just for a moment. It was recognition. Soldier recognizing soldier. After the other officers left, Yunwoo stayed. He walked closer to the cell. "You are not what they think you are," Yunwoo said quietly. "I can see it in your eyes. You are military. A warrior." Tae-yang did not respond, but Yunwoo nodded as if he had answered. The commander is a fool, Yunwoo continued. He thinks you are a pet. I think you are a threat. I will be watching you. He turned and walked away. That was a problem. Yunwoo was smart. He would make escape harder. Taeyang needed to move soon, before Yunwoo could convince Dalnim to increase security. 2 weeks after he woke up, Bora came to his cell looking worried. She carried a data pad holding it like it was something dangerous. I need to ask you something, she said. Her voice was shaking. What is your full name and rank? Taeyang felt his stomach tighten. This was not a normal question. Why do you want to know? He asked. Because I found something, Bora said. In the old Earth military databases. We recovered them after the war. Most files were destroyed, but some survived. I was looking for information about human soldiers, and I found references to someone with your DNA profile. She turned the datapad to show him. On the screen was a military file. His file. His photo from 10 years ago, younger but recognizable. And there, in bold letters, his designation, Captain Taeyang Kim, call sign, the Reaper. Bora stared at him with wide eyes. Her scales had turned pale with fear. You are the Reaper, she whispered. The soldier who held off 3 battalions at New Seoul, the one who destroyed the command ship at Titan's Gate, the ghost who killed 400 Vorthan soldiers in one night. Her hands were shaking now. They taught us about you in military history. You are a legend, a nightmare, and the commander has been keeping you in a cell with basic security. Taeyang stood up slowly. He looked at Bora, then he looked at the camera in the corner of his cell, then back at Bora. You should tell the commander, he said quietly. You should tell him right now. Bora nodded quickly and ran from the room. Taeyang heard her footsteps echoing down the corridor. He heard her shouting for guards. He heard alarms start to sound. Good. Now they would panic. When people panic, they make mistakes. 2 guards rushed to his cell. They pointed their rifles at him through the transparent wall. Get back, one shouted. Away from the door. Taeyang raised his hands and stepped back. But he was smiling now. A small cold smile. They knew his name now. They knew what he was. And that changed everything, because now they would be afraid. And afraid people make mistakes. They rush. They forget training. They leave openings. The door to his cell opened. More guards rushed in. They carried restraints. They were shouting at each other, arguing about procedure. Taeyang watched them crowd through the narrow doorway. Too many guards in too small a space. They were getting in each other's way. Perfect. Taeyang moved. After 2 weeks of pretending to be weak, he finally showed them what he really was. He grabbed the closest guard's rifle and twisted it away. The guard shouted in surprise. Taeyang struck him in the throat with precise force. The guard went down. The second guard fired, but Taeyang was already moving. The energy bolt missed and hit the wall. Taeyang spun and kicked the guard's legs out from under him. The guard fell hard. The third guard was smarter. He backed toward the door, keeping his rifle aimed. But Taeyang threw the first guard's rifle like a spear. It hit the third guard in the chest, knocking him backward through the doorway. Taeyang ran. Out of the cell. Down the corridor. The alarms were screaming now. Red lights flashed. He heard more guards coming. He heard Dalnim's voice over the speakers ordering the station into lockdown, but Taeyang was already gone. Already moving through the maintenance passages he had memorized. Already becoming what they feared. Already proving why they had called him the Reaper. The hunt had begun. But they were not the hunters. He was. Commander Dalnim stood in the control room, staring at the security screens with disbelief. The human was moving through the station like a shadow. Fast, silent, deadly. Every team Dalnim sent after him ended up unconscious or worse. How? Dalnim wanted to scream. How was one human doing this? The creature was supposed to be weak, primitive, helpless. Captain Yunwoo entered the control room. His face was grim. I warned you, Commander. I told you he was dangerous. Dalnim's scales flushed dark with anger. Shut your mouth and do your job. Find him. Stop him. Yunwoo nodded and turned to the security officers. Seal sections 4 through 7. Set up checkpoints at every junction. Use thermal scanners. He is not invisible, just clever. We can catch him if we stop acting like fools. The officers scrambled to follow his orders. Yunwoo studied the screens carefully. He tracked Taeyang's movements. The human was heading toward the communications sector. Why? What was he planning? Then Yunwu understood. The human wanted to send a message, to call for help, to tell other humans where he was. If other humans existed. If they heard the call. If they came. Yunwu felt a chill run down his spine. The Vorthan Empire had told everyone that humans were extinct. But what if they were wrong? What if there were more out there, hiding in the dark corners of space waiting for a signal? He must not reach communications, Yunwu said quietly. Dalnim finally understood too. His eyes went wide. Send everyone! Stop him before he sends that signal! But it was already too late. Taeyang reached the communications room. The door was locked, but he had taken a security card from one of the guards. The door hissed open. Inside, the walls were covered with screens and equipment. Rows of computers blinked with lights. He moved quickly to the main console. His fingers flew over the controls. The interface was alien, but the basic principles were the same. Find the transmission array. Set the frequency. Broadcast on all human military channels. The system came online. Taeyang spoke clearly into the microphone. This is Captain Taeyang Kim, Earth Defense Force, call sign the Reaper. I am alive. I am on board a Vorthan research station in Sector 7. If anyone can hear this, respond. I repeat, if anyone can hear this, respond. He set the message to repeat and moved to the secondary console. He needed to download information. Station layouts. Security codes. Any data that might help him survive, then he heard it. A crackling sound from the speakers, static, then a voice. A human voice, Reaper, this is Lieutenant Hanul Park, I read you. I am also on this station. Detention Block C, Level 9. They have been holding me for 6 months. Taeyang felt his heart leap. Another survivor. Another human. He was not alone. Hanul, can you move? Can you escape your cell? Negative. The cell is locked tight. Electronic seals. I would need someone to override it from the outside or from the main security system. Taeyang looked at the console. He found the security system controls. His fingers moved quickly. There. Detention Block C, Cell 47. He disabled the locks. Check now, he said. There was a pause. Then Hanul's voice came back, filled with relief and excitement. I am out, Reaper, I am out. What now? Arm yourself. Find weapons. Then meet me at Junction 12, Level 5. Can you get there? Yes, I know this station. They questioned me enough times that I memorized the routes. Give me 10 minutes, Taeyang heard alarms in the distance. Guards were coming. A lot of guards. He grabbed the datapad he had loaded with information and moved toward the door. The door opened. 20 guards stood in the corridor, rifles raised. Behind them stood Captain Yunwu. End of the line, Reaper, Yunwu said. Surrender now. You cannot win this fight, Taeyang looked at them. Then he smiled. That cold smile that did not reach his eyes. Watch me. He hit the emergency controls. The lights went out. Emergency power kicked in, bathing everything in red light. Then he moved. The guards opened fire, but Taeyang was already behind cover. Energy bolts lit up the darkness. Taeyang grabbed equipment from the walls and threw it. Monitors, chairs, anything heavy. The guards scattered, trying to avoid the flying debris. He ran, down the corridor. Guards chased him. But this station was not built for running battles. It was built for research. The corridors were narrow. The turns were sharp. Taeyang used every advantage. He reached Junction 12. Hanul was already there. She was young, maybe late 20s, with short black hair and determined eyes. She held a rifle she had taken from a guard. When she saw Taeyang, she smiled with relief. Good to see you, Captain. Good to see you too, Lieutenant. Now run, they ran together. Behind them, guards shouted and fired. The two humans moved through the maintenance tunnels, places the Vorthans rarely used. These passages were tight and dark, perfect for hiding. As they ran, Hanul spoke quickly. I have information. Important information. There are other humans on this station. Prisoners like us. At least 15 in different detention blocks. Taeyang processed this. 15 more. That changed things. It was not just about escaping anymore. It was about saving everyone. Can you get their locations from the system? He asked. I already did. Before I escaped, I accessed a terminal. I have the data right here. She tapped her head. Memorized it all. Taeyang nodded with approval. Smart thinking. They found a hiding spot in a storage room. For now, they were safe. Taeyang checked the rifle he had taken. Still had power. Maybe 20 shots left. What is the plan? Hanul asked. We cannot fight the entire station. No, we cannot, Taeyang agreed. But we do not need to fight everyone. We just need to create enough chaos that they cannot organize.
Hit them fast.
Hit them hard. Keep them scared, Hanul smiled. Guerrilla tactics, I like it. What is our first target? Life support controls. If we can threaten those, we have leverage. For 3 days, they waged war in the shadows. Taeyang and Hanul struck at supply depots. They sabotaged power systems. They cut communication lines. They released prisoners from cells. Not just humans, but other species too. Anyone who wanted to fight the Vorthans. The station descended into chaos. Dalnim was losing control. His officers argued with him. His guards were exhausted and scared. Every shadow might hide the Reaper. Every dark corridor might be a trap. Stories spread among the Vorthan soldiers. The Reaper could not be killed. He moved like a ghost. He struck without warning. He was everywhere and nowhere. The stories grew with each telling, becoming more terrifying. Bora watched all this with growing horror. She had helped create this nightmare by discovering who Taeyang was. Now she saw what happened when you cornered a human. They did not surrender. They fought back with everything they had. On the 3rd day, she made a decision. She found a way to send Taeyang a message through the station's internal system. A meeting location, a time. She had information he needed. Taeyang was suspicious. It could be a trap. But Hanul had learned about Bora during her imprisonment. The scientist is different, Hanul said. She was kind to me. She gave me extra food. She is not like the others. So Taeyang went to the meeting, a storage room in the medical sector. Bora was waiting there, alone and nervous. When she saw him, she jumped. Do not kill me, she said quickly. Please, I want to help. Taeyang kept his rifle ready but listened. Why would you help me? Because what we did was wrong. What my people did to your people was wrong. Bora's voice shook, but she continued. We destroyed your world. We tried to erase you. And now I see that humans are not animals or primitives. You are people. You deserve to live. She handed him a data pad. This has the station's emergency protocols, self-destruct codes, escape pod locations, everything you need to get out alive. Taeyang took the data pad carefully. What do you want in return? Spare the civilian scientists. They are not soldiers. They did not choose this, please. Taeyang studied her face. She was genuine. Scared but genuine. I only fight those who fight me. The civilians will not be harmed. Bora nodded with relief. There is one more thing. Commander Dalnim is planning something. He is going to cut life support to the maintenance tunnels. He thinks it will force you out when? Tonight. In 4 hours, Taeyang's mind raced. 4 hours. Not much time, but maybe enough. Thank you, he said to Bora. You may have saved our lives. Bora left quickly. Taeyang returned to Hanul and showed her the datapad. We have 4 hours before they gas the tunnels, he said. We need to move now. Get to the main hangar. Take one of their ships. What about the other prisoners? Hanul asked. We release them all. Create maximum chaos. While the guards deal with riots and escapes, we steal a ship and get out. Hanul grinned. I love this plan. They moved fast. Using the security codes Bora gave them, they unlocked every cell in the detention sectors. Prisoners poured into the corridors. Humans, aliens, all of them angry, all of them wanting freedom. The station erupted in chaos. Guards ran everywhere trying to contain the situation. But it was impossible. Too many prisoners, too many corridors, too much confusion. Taeyang and Hanul fought their way to the hangar. Guards tried to stop them. They failed. The two humans moved like a team that had fought together for years, covering each other, supporting each other. They reached the hangar. Ships sat in neat rows. Taeyang pointed to a small fighter craft. That one, fast and armed. But before they could reach it, Captain Yunwoo appeared with 50 guards. They surrounded the hangar, weapons raised. Yunwoo looked tired. Respect showed in his eyes, but also duty. The fighter ship flew through space at maximum speed. Taeyang sat in the pilot seat, his hands steady on the controls. Behind him, Hanul worked on the communication system. We are clear, she said. No pursuit. They are too busy evacuating. Good. Set course for the coordinates you memorized. The closest human settlement. Hanul's fingers flew over the controls. Done. It will take us 3 days to get there. She paused. Do you think they made it out? The other prisoners? Taeyang thought about Yunwoo. The way he had ordered his troops to evacuate first, yes, he made sure. He is a good soldier even if he is our enemy. Hanul smiled. You respect him. I respect anyone who honors their duty without being cruel. Ta Yang set the ship to autopilot. Now tell me what you know. How many humans are left? Where are they hiding? Hanul pulled up a data screen. I do not have exact numbers. But during my imprisonment, I heard things. Pieced together information from different guards. There are human colonies scattered across the outer systems. Small groups. Hidden settlements. Maybe thousands of us in total. Thousands, Taeyang repeated. Not millions like before, but still thousands. That was hope. The Vorthans hunt us. They capture humans for research, for labor, for sport. Hanul's voice hardened. They did not just destroy Earth. They are still trying to finish the job. Then we will stop them, Taeyang said simply. Hanul looked at him. 2 people against an empire? How not 2 people? We are the start. We find the others. We organize. We fight back. Taeyang's eyes were hard and determined. The Vorthans think we are extinct. Let us show them they are wrong. Over the next 3 days, they talked. Hanul told Taeyang about her capture. She had been part of a colony ship, hiding in an asteroid field. The Vorthans found them by accident. Most of the colonists were killed. A few like her were taken prisoner. Taeyang told her about the last days of Earth, the great battles in space, the desperate evacuations, watching his homeworld burn as he fled with the survivors, the guilt he carried for living when so many died. It was not your fault, Hanul said quietly. You survived because you were strong, because you were smart, because you were needed maybe, or maybe I was just lucky. No. Hanul shook her head. The Reaper is not just luck. You earned that name, and now you can use it. That name scares them. It gives us power. On the 3rd day, they reached their destination, a small moon orbiting a gas giant. The surface looked barren, but Hanul pointed to a crater. There, underground. That is where they hide. They landed the fighter in the crater. As soon as the ship touched down, weapons appeared from hidden positions. Turrets, missile launchers. The humans here were ready to defend themselves. A voice crackled over the radio. Vorthan ship, you have 10 seconds to leave or we will destroy you. Hanul grabbed the microphone. This is Lieutenant Hanul Park, Earth Defense Force. The ship is captured. We are human. Do not fire. There was a long silence. Then, prove it. Taeyang leaned forward. This is Captain Taeyang Kim, call sign The Reaper. Check your military records. You will find my identification. We come in peace. Another pause. Then a different voice, older and filled with disbelief. The Reaper? The real Reaper? We thought you were dead, not dead. Just captured. Now freed. Can we come in? A hatch opened in the crater floor. Lights guided them to a landing pad below ground. When they emerged from the fighter, they saw people. Humans. Dozens of them. All staring with wide eyes. An old man stepped forward. He wore the uniform of an Earth Admiral, though it was faded and patched. I am Admiral Kyung-soo. I commanded the evacuation fleet from Mars. He looked at Taeyang with tears in his eyes. I remember you, Captain. You saved 300 civilians during the siege of New Seoul. I gave you that medal myself. Taeyang stood straight and saluted. The Admiral returned the salute, then pulled him into a hug. Welcome home, son. Welcome home. Over the next hours, Taeyang and Hanul learned about the colony. 300 humans lived here. They had food, water, basic manufacturing. But they lived in fear, hiding from Vorthan patrols. We survive, but we do not live, Admiral Kyung-soo said sadly. We hide like rats. We teach our children to be silent, to be invisible. This is not life. This is just waiting to die. Then stop hiding, Taeyang said. Fight back. The Admiral shook his head. We are too few, too weak. The Vorthans have entire fleets. We have one small colony with outdated weapons. You have more than that. Taeyang stood and addressed the room. You have anger. You have determination. You have the will to survive. And now you have me, a young woman spoke up. You are just one man. How can one man change anything? Hanul answered. He is the Reaper. He destroyed an entire Vorthan research station with nothing but his hands and his mind. He freed dozens of prisoners. He made them afraid. She looked around the room. The Vorthans thought humans were gone. Now they know we are not, and they are scared. Taeyang pulled out the data pad Bo-Ra had given him. I have Vorthan security codes, station layouts, communication frequencies. We can use this. We can hit them where they are weak, free more prisoners, steal more ships, grow our strength. The Admiral looked thoughtful. A resistance. You want to start a resistance, not want, Will. Taeyang's voice was firm. I did not survive the destruction of Earth just to hide. I survived to fight. To make sure humans have a future. Who will join me? Silence filled the room. Then one person stood, then another, then another. Soon everyone was standing. Young and old. Soldiers and civilians. All ready to fight. The Admiral smiled. Then it seems we have a war to fight. What do you need, Captain? Volunteers, weapons, ships, and information. Taeyang spread out a map. Hanyul says there are other human settlements. We need to contact them. Unite them. Make them part of this. Over the following weeks, everything changed. The hidden colony became a military base. Taeyang trained volunteers in combat. Hanyul organized intelligence networks. The Admiral coordinated with other human settlements through secret channels. Word spread. The Reaper was alive. The Reaper was fighting back. Other colonies heard and took hope. They sent their own fighters. Shared resources. United under a common cause. But the Vorthans heard too. After the research station's destruction, they knew humans were not extinct. They increased patrols. They hunted for rebel bases. They offered rewards for information. The first real battle came 6 weeks after Taeyang's arrival. A Vorthan patrol ship found their location. Instead of running, Taeyang ordered an attack. 3 human fighters against 1 Vorthan patrol ship. The odds were bad, but Taeyang had a plan. They used the gas giant's atmosphere as cover. They struck fast and pulled back. They made the Vorthans chase them into prepared traps. The patrol ship was destroyed. The humans captured its database. Inside were locations of Vorthan supply depots, patrol routes, and prison facilities. This is just the start, Taeyang told his people. We will hit their supplies, free their prisoners, make them afraid to patrol our space, and they did. For 3 months, the resistance struck again and again. They freed a prison transport, gaining 50 more fighters. They destroyed a supply depot, crippling Vorthan operations in the sector. They captured weapons and ships. With each victory, more humans joined. The resistance grew from hundreds to thousands. They had a small fleet now. Not enough to challenge the Vorthan Empire directly, but enough to be a threat. The Vorthan High Command took notice. They sent a task force to crush the rebellion. 12 warships, thousands of soldiers, commanded by a general who had fought in the original war against Earth. Admiral Kyung-soo looked at the intelligence reports with worry. This is more than we can handle. We should scatter. Hide again, no, Taeyang said. If we scatter now, we lose everything we have built. We fight. The Admiral stared at him. This is suicide, maybe. Or maybe it is our chance to show the galaxy that humans cannot be crushed. Taeyang stood and addressed his senior officers. We have surprise. We have desperation. We have nothing to lose. They expect us to run. Instead, we attack first. Hanyul smiled. I love it when you get crazy ideas. The plan was insane. The Vorthan task force would arrive in 3 days. Taeyang proposed to meet them in the asteroid field near the colony. Use the asteroids as cover and weapons. Hit them with everything at once. Make them bleed. The night before the battle, Taeyang could not sleep. He walked through the base looking at the faces of his people. Young and old. Soldiers and civilians. All depending on him. All believing in him. Hanyul found him standing alone in the observation room looking at the stars. You are worried, she said. Tomorrow, people will die. Good people. Because of my orders, they will die fighting. That is better than dying as prisoners or slaves. She stood beside him. You gave them hope. You gave them a purpose. Whatever happens tomorrow, that matters. Taeyang looked at her. You should leave. Take a ship. Get far away. You do not have to be here for this. Hanyul laughed. Leave? Now? When things are getting interesting? Not a chance. She touched his arm. Where you go, I go. We are in this together. The next day arrived too quickly. The Vorthan task force emerged from faster-than-light travel exactly where predicted. 12 massive warships against the human resistance. Taeyang sat in the command chair of the resistance flagship, a captured Vorthan cruiser they had renamed Hope's Fury. All ships. This is the Reaper. Today we fight not just for ourselves, but for every human who died at Vorthan hands. News of the battle spread like wildfire. Within days, every corner of the galaxy knew a human resistance had defeated a Vorthan task force. The extinct species was not extinct. The dead had returned. In the Vorthan capital, the High Command met in emergency session. Generals and politicians argued about what to do. Some wanted to crush the humans immediately with overwhelming force. Others wanted to negotiate. All of them were afraid. General Yunwu stood before them. He had been promoted after his handling of the research station evacuation. Now he gave his report. The humans are organized. They have leadership. They have a symbol that unites them. The Reaper. Yunwu looked around the room. I have faced him. He is dangerous. But more importantly, he makes others dangerous. He gives them hope and courage. Then we must kill him, one general said. Cut off the head and the body dies. Yunwu shook his head. Kill him and you create a martyr. The legend will grow stronger. No, if we want to end this, we need to understand why they fight. They fight because we tried to destroy them. Because we treat them as slaves and specimens. Maybe it is time to stop. The room erupted in angry voices. Some called him a traitor. Others agreed but were too afraid to say it loudly. The debate raged for hours. Finally, the High Commander made a decision. We will offer them peace, a place to live, freedom. But if they refuse, we will crush them completely. Yunwu was chosen to deliver the message. He was the only one who had met the Reaper and lived. He understood humans better than anyone else in the Empire. Meanwhile, the human resistance was changing. What started as a few hundred had grown to thousands, then tens of thousands. Hidden colonies revealed themselves. Ships that had been hiding for decades came out of the shadows. The resistance was becoming an army. But with growth came problems. Not everyone agreed with Taeyang's leadership. Some wanted revenge. They wanted to hunt down every Vorthan and destroy them. Others wanted to just hide again, afraid that too much attention would bring destruction. Taeyang sat in a meeting with his senior commanders. They were arguing about the next move. We should attack their homeworld, one commander said. Show them what it feels like to have their planet destroyed. No, another argued. We should negotiate. Ask for a planet of our own. End this war before we all die. Taeyang listened to all of them. Then he spoke quietly. We are not monsters. We do not destroy worlds. That is what they did, and it was wrong. We are better than that. So you want to surrender? Someone challenged, I want justice. Taeyang stood. We fight until they acknowledge what they did. Until they pay for their crimes. Until every human prisoner is free. Until we have a real place in this galaxy. Not as slaves or refugees, but as equals. Hanul interrupted the meeting. We have a transmission. From the Vorthans. They want to talk. The room went silent. Taeyang nodded. Put it through. A holographic image appeared. General Yunwu stood there looking tired but determined. Reaper. We meet again. General. Taeyang acknowledged him with respect. What do you want? Peace. The High Command has authorized me to offer terms. We will give you a sector of space. 10 planets. Freedom to govern yourselves. We will release all human prisoners. In return, you stop the attacks, the commanders murmured. Some looked excited, others suspicious. Taeyang studied Yunwu's face. And what guarantee do we have? What stops you from attacking us once we settle? Once we let our guard down? Yunwu hesitated. I cannot give you guarantees. I can only give you my word. There are Vorthans who want peace, who regret what we did. But there are also Vorthans who want to finish what we started. This offer might be your only chance. Taeyang was silent for a long moment. Then we need to discuss this. Give us 24 hours, and Wu nodded. 24 hours. But after that, if you refuse, the High Command will send everything they have. No mercy, no prisoners. The transmission ended. The room exploded with arguments. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone shouted over each other. Taeyang raised his hand for silence. We vote. But first, let everyone speak who wants to. For hours they debated. Those who wanted peace spoke of building a future, of children growing up without war, of having a home again. Those who wanted war spoke of justice, of the billions who died, of not trusting the species that tried to exterminate them. Finally, Admiral Kyung-soo stood. He was the oldest person there, the one who remembered Earth before the war. I remember Earth, he said quietly. I remember blue skies, green forests, cities full of life, all gone because of them. He looked around the room. But I also remember what we were. We were explorers, scientists, artists. We were more than just warriors. If we become nothing but war, then they really did destroy us. Not our bodies, but our souls. He turned to Taeyang. You are the Reaper. You are death to our enemies, but you can also be something else. You can be the one who brought us back to life. The choice is yours. Taeyang closed his eyes. He thought about all the people he had lost. His family, his friends, his crewmates. Would they want revenge? Or would they want humanity to survive? He opened his eyes and looked at Hanul. What do you think? She smiled sadly. I think we have fought enough. I think it is time to build instead of destroy. But I will follow whatever decision you make. Taeyang stood and addressed everyone. We vote. All in favor of accepting the peace terms, raise your hands. Slowly, hands went up. More than half, then more. Finally, even some of the warmongers raised their hands. They were tired too. All opposed? A few hands stayed up. But they were a minority. Then it is decided. Taeyang felt a weight lift from his shoulders. We accept the peace, but with conditions. All prisoners released. War crime trials for those responsible for the genocide, and monitoring. We want neutral observers to make sure both sides keep the peace. Hanul transmitted the response to Yunwu. The general listened carefully and nodded. I will present your terms to the High Command. I believe they will agree. They are more afraid of you than they admit. A week later, the treaty was signed. In a neutral space station, representatives from both sides met. Taeyang stood for humanity. Yunwu stood for the Vorthans. As they signed the documents, Yunwu spoke quietly. I hope this is the right choice. For both our peoples, Taeyang looked at him. So do I, but if it is not, if you betray this peace, I will come for you. All of you, Yunwu did not doubt him. I know, that is why this peace will hold. Because you are the Reaper, and we are afraid. Over the next months, the terms were implemented. Human prisoners were released. Thousands of them. They came home crying with joy. Families were reunited. People who thought they were alone found each other again. The 10 planets were transferred to human control. They were not perfect. Some were desert worlds. Some were ice worlds. But they were home. Humanity had a place in the galaxy again. The first planet was named New Earth. Taeyang and Hanul stood on its surface, looking at the sunset. The sky was purple instead of blue, but it was beautiful. We did it, Hanul said softly. We actually did it, Taeyang nodded. But it is not over. This is just the beginning. We have to build now. Create a society. Make sure this never happens again, and we will, together. But not everyone was happy. Some Vorthans refused to accept the peace. They formed secret groups, plotted revenge, and some humans refused to forgive. They wanted blood, not treaties. 6 months after the treaty, a Vorthan extremist group attacked a human settlement. 50 people died, children, families, innocents. The news reached Taeyang while he was in a council meeting. His face went hard and cold. The Reaper returned. He contacted Yunwu immediately. Your people broke the peace. Yunwu looked sick. Not my people, extremists, criminals. We are hunting them now. Please give us time to bring them to justice. You have 1 week. Then I come for them myself. Yunwu worked day and night. He found the extremist group hiding in an abandoned station. He sent his best soldiers to capture them. But when they arrived, they found something unexpected. Taeyang was already there. He had tracked them down on his own. The extremists lay unconscious on the floor. Taeyang stood over them, rifle in hand. You are early, Yunwu said. I do not wait for justice. I make it. Taeyang looked at the general. They are alive. I could have killed them, but I did not. Because I believe in the peace. But barely, Yunwu nodded. Thank you. They will be tried properly. They will face justice, they better. Taeyang started to leave, then turned back. General, we both want this peace to work. But it is fragile. One more attack like this, and I cannot stop my people from demanding war. Make sure your leaders understand that. I will. And Reaper? Thank you for giving peace a chance. Taeyang did not answer. He just left. The extremists were put on trial publicly, broadcast across the galaxy. They were found guilty and imprisoned. The Vorthan High Command issued a statement condemning them. It was not enough to heal the wounds. But it was a start. Human extremists tried to retaliate. They planned an attack on a Vorthan civilian station, but Taeyang stopped them too. He arrested his own people and handed them over for trial. Some called him a traitor for that. But most understood. Peace required sacrifice from everyone, even the Reaper. 1 year after the treaty, Taeyang stood before the Human Council. He had been asked to lead them, to be their first president. But he refused. I am a soldier, not a politician. You need someone who can build, not destroy. Someone who can inspire hope, not fear. 5 years had passed since the treaty. 5 years of fragile peace. 5 years of rebuilding. The human worlds were thriving now. Cities rose from empty ground. Farms covered once barren land. Ships flew between planets carrying trade and hope. Tai Yang stood in the training grounds of the Human Defense Force Academy. Young soldiers practiced combat maneuvers. They were good, fast, skilled, but they had never seen real war. For that, Tai Yang was grateful. Commander. A voice interrupted his thoughts. It was his second-in-command, a young woman named Jiwoo. We have a situation. What kind of situation? A distress call. From a Vorthan science vessel. They are under attack by pirates. Requesting assistance, Tai Yang considered this. Helping Vorthans would not be popular with some humans. But the treaty required mutual aid. And more importantly, it was the right thing to do. Scramble a rescue squadron. I will lead personally. Within the hour, Tai Yang was in space with 6 fighter ships. They reached the science vessel quickly. 3 pirate ships were attacking it, trying to steal its cargo. This is Captain Tai Yang Kim of the Human Defense Force. Break off your attack immediately. The pirates laughed over the radio. The Reaper? That is just a story. You do not scare us, Tai Yang sighed. He never wanted to use that name anymore. But sometimes it was necessary. Last warning. Leave now or face the consequences. The pirates fired at him. Big mistake. The fight lasted 3 minutes. Tai Yang's squadron moved with perfect precision. They disabled all 3 pirate ships without destroying them. Captured them for trial. Not a single shot hit the science vessel. The Vorthan captain contacted them, his voice filled with relief and disbelief. You saved us. Thank you. I never thought I would say this to a human, but thank you. Tai Yang smiled. We are all citizens of this galaxy now. We help each other. When they returned home, news of the rescue had already spread. Hanul was waiting for him at the landing pad. You are a hero again, she said with a smile. The Vorthan news is calling you the Protector now instead of the Reaper. I prefer that. Much better name. They walked together through the city. It was evening and the streets were full of life. Humans and aliens mixed freely now. Trading, talking, living together in peace. This is what I always dreamed of. Hanul said quietly. Not just survival, but life. Real life, Tai Yang nodded. Me too. Though I never thought I would see it. A week later, Hanul received an invitation. General Yunwoo requested a meeting. Not official business, personal. He wanted to talk to both of them. They met at a neutral station. Yunwoo looked older now, tired but peaceful. Thank you for coming, he said. I wanted to speak with you before I retire. Retire? Tai Yang was surprised. You are still young in years. Old in spirit. Yunwoo smiled sadly. I have seen too much war. Too much death. It is time for younger Vorthans to lead, ones who grew up knowing humans as neighbors, not enemies. He handed them a data pad. This is for you. My memoirs. Everything I remember from the war, from our encounters. I want it published. I want both our peoples to know the truth. The mistakes we made. The price we paid. Hanul took the data pad carefully. This is important. Thank you. Yunwoo looked at Tai Yang. I have one question. Do you still see me as an enemy? Tai Yang thought carefully. You were my enemy, but you were also honorable. You did your duty without cruelty. You helped save lives when you could have let them die. No, I do not see you as an enemy anymore. I see you as someone who learned from mistakes. That is rare and valuable. Yunwoo's eyes shone with emotion. Thank you. That means more than you know. They parted as friends, not forgetting the past but choosing not to be prisoners of it. But peace always has enemies. 3 months after that meeting, a crisis emerged. A radical group, made up of both humans and Vorthans who rejected the peace, launched a coordinated attack. They bombed government buildings on both human and Vorthan worlds. Dozens died. The galaxy held its breath. Would this be the spark that reignited the war? Tai Yang and the new Vorthan military commander, a young general named Byung-ho, held a joint press conference. They stood together, united. These terrorists do not represent humanity, Tai Yang said firmly. They do not represent our values. We will hunt them down and bring them to justice. Byung-ho nodded. And they do not represent the Vorthan people. We stand with humanity against this threat. We will work together to stop them. For 2 months, human and Vorthan forces worked side by side, sharing intelligence, coordinating raids, building trust through action. They found the terrorist bases. They arrested the leaders. They prevented more attacks. When the last terrorist cell was captured, something remarkable happened. Humans and Vorthans celebrated together, in the streets, in bars, on military bases, old enemies becoming new friends. Hanul watched the celebrations from a balcony. Taeyang joined her. "We did it," she said. "Real peace. Not just a treaty, but actual peace." Taeyang looked at the mixed crowds below. Humans and Vorthans laughing together, working together, living together. It was a miracle we did. And it will hold, because both sides want it to. A year later, the Galactic Council invited humanity to join as a full member. It was a historic moment. Humans would have a voice in galactic affairs, equal status with all other species. Hanul was chosen as the first human representative. She stood before the council, hundreds of alien species watching her. "Humanity has returned," she said clearly. "We were nearly destroyed. We faced extinction. But we survived. We endured. And now we stand here not seeking revenge or dominance, but partnership and peace. We have learned the cost of war. We choose a different path." The council voted unanimously. Humanity was welcomed. That night there were celebrations across all human worlds. Taeyang stood with his soldiers watching fireworks light up the sky. Commander Jiwoo approached him. "Sir, they want you to make a speech. The whole galaxy is watching." Taeyang shook his head. "I am not good at speeches. Hanul handles that, but people want to hear from you, from the Reaper. You are the symbol of our survival." Reluctantly, Taeyang stepped up to the podium. Cameras from across the galaxy focused on him. He spoke simply, without fancy words or grand statements. "My name is Taeyang Kim. They called me the Reaper because I survived when others died. Because I fought when others surrendered. But I do not want to be remembered as death. I want to be remembered as the person who helped bring humanity back to life." He looked directly at the cameras. "To every human watching, we are not defined by what was done to us. We are defined by what we do next. We can choose hate or hope, revenge or rebuilding. I choose hope. I choose to build. And I ask you to choose the same to every other species watching. We remember what happened. We will never forget. But we also choose to forgive those who ask for forgiveness and work for peace. We offer friendship to all who will take it. The Reaper is dead. Long live humanity." The message resonated across the galaxy. On human worlds, people cheered. On Vorthan worlds, many wept with relief and gratitude. On countless other worlds, species saw humanity's strength was not in vengeance but in their capacity to overcome. Years passed. Human civilization grew. New Earth became a center of culture and trade. The other 9 planets developed their own identities. Some became agricultural worlds, some industrial, some focused on science and art. Taeyang stepped down from military command at age 50. He had trained a new generation of defenders. Strong, capable, and most importantly, wise. They knew how to fight, but also when not to. He and Hanul settled on New Earth. They built a small house near the ocean. A quiet life after so many years of struggle. One evening, they sat on their porch watching the purple sunset. Hanul leaned against his shoulder. "Do you miss it? The action? The danger?" Taeyang thought about it. "No, I had enough danger for 10 lifetimes. This is better. This is peace. Do you ever think about what would have happened if Bora had not helped us? If we had not escaped that station? All the time. One person's choice changed everything." Taeyang smiled. "We should visit her. She still lives on that Vorthan colony, right?" "Yes, she became a teacher, educating young Vorthans about other species, about tolerance and understanding." "Good. She deserves to see what her courage created." They visited Bora the next month. She was older now, scales fading to gray, but her eyes still held that same curiosity and kindness. When she saw them, she started crying. "I was so afraid you would fail, that I helped for nothing." Hanul hugged her. "You did not help for nothing. You helped save billions of lives, human and Vorthan. You are a hero." Bora showed them her classroom, young Vorthan students learning about human history, about the war, about the mistakes made, about how peace was won. One student raised her hand. "Is it true that the Reaper could defeat 100 soldiers alone?" Taeyang laughed. "No, that is just a story. I could maybe defeat 5 or 6 on a good day. The rest is legend." Another student asked, "Are you really the Reaper?" "I was, but that person is gone now. Now I am just Taeyang. A retired soldier trying to enjoy his garden. The students looked disappointed. They wanted the legend, not the man, but Bora understood. She smiled at him with approval. The greatest victory is not in war, but in the choice to put down the sword. On their flight home, Hanul was quiet. Finally she spoke. Do you regret anything? Taeyang considered. I regret that so many had to die. That earth burned, that we lost so much, but I do not regret fighting.